The simple switch that makes fat loss effortless. Sean here from Fit Fusion Brotherhood. Fat loss. It's simple, but it's not easy. And I don't know about you, but I'm always trying to make things as easy as possible. I've tried a lot of diets over the years. I've tried a lot of different things. And for me, this one simple hack makes a huge difference. Because when we're trying to drop body fat, there are a few issues that make it really challenging. First and foremost, you're going to feel hungry all the time. Next, you're going to be lower energy, or maybe even your mood's off. And then the worst part, maybe for a lot of you, is you have to give up some of your favorite foods. So I'm going to talk about these issues, what that simple trick is for me in order to try to get around it as much as possible, and exactly how I did it. Now, this strategy works really well for me, but it doesn't necessarily have to work for every single person. So if you have any particular strategies that work well for you, drop them in the comments below. Okay, so first and foremost, this video is not about exercise. There are important elements when it comes to working out, when it comes to steps that do play a role in fat loss, but this video is all about nutrition. And like I've alluded to earlier, I have tried so many different things, and this is the one that really worked well for me. So typically, nutrition-wise, what we do as coaches with our clients is really emphasize focusing on two main things to track. If you have already watched our videos or worked with us before, you probably know what these things are. It's your calories and your protein. And then we tell our clients that the fat and the carbs can kind of go wherever you want. And it's true. It doesn't really matter how those are distributed. For most people, if your calories and your protein are in check, however the rest of the macros go, you're still going to get those results you want. Now, for some people, they prefer a certain distribution elsewhere. And as someone who's tried all of these distributions before, the easiest one for me would be relatively low fat, not carbs. So a lot of people think the best way to lose fat, to feel good, is to go low carb. And as someone who has tried and succeeded several times going a low carb route, I can tell you, for me personally, it's much easier to go lower fat. And there are a few reasons for this. Okay, so the first reason why low fat works really well for me and makes fat loss easier is because of the amount of food that you get to eat. So for every gram of fat that you have, it's more than double the amount of calories per every gram of carbs, which means if you're having a diet that's higher in fat and all calories are created equal, your food volume is going to be smaller. So your portion sizes are going to be smaller. And we know one of the most challenging things during fat loss is dealing with hunger. So from my side, my opinion, I'd much rather have meals that are higher in food volume that really fill me up and go a lot lower on the fat, moderate carb, higher protein, allows me to feel full for longer and allows me to feel better, which kind of leads me into that second point. The second point is going to be energy-wise. My energy is super low when I go low carb. And we got to realize that carbs are the main source of energy and fuel for the body. So don't be surprised if you're feeling lethargic, if you're feeling weaker once you go low carb during your fat loss phase. Now, it's important to understand that you are going to feel lower energy either way. Anytime you're dropping the calories, the energy will take a drop as well. But I find if I can still incorporate a moderate amount of carb intake during a fat loss phase, I feel way better. So my energy is better, my strength is better, and when my carbs are moderate and my fat is lower, this just tends to be a much better feeling overall for me. And then the third reason, which a lot of you might like to hear, is you get to have a lot more of those discretionary foods. Because like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people think that when you go into a fat loss phase, that you have to give up your favorite foods. And how many of us include favorite foods that are higher in carbs? So rice, it could be pasta, it could be noodles, oats, all of these things that we love. Remember, they are super tasty, but they're also lower in calories than foods that are higher in fat. So you can still enjoy your favorite carbohydrates, you can feel better, and you're less hungry throughout your journey. So let's talk about exactly how I do this and what are some changes that I make in order for my fat to go lower, keeping the carbs moderate and the protein higher. And before I begin, just remember, when you're doing a fat loss phase, you have to drop those calories and you're keeping your protein high, if not higher than before. So those calories got to come from somewhere, either carbs, fat, or both. I'm saying, for me personally, dropping the fat is the best way to go. Keep in mind that you never want to go super low or no fat because healthy fats are important, especially for men when it comes to hormone production. Okay, so a few tweaks that I have make a huge difference for overall energy balance. The first one is I don't use a lot of olive oil. I don't use a lot of butter. These are things that I use a lot of during maintenance or even bulking, but when I'm cutting weight, I try to keep them to a minimum. Instead, I'll use like a PAM spray that has little to no calories. Instead of having fattier cuts of meat, like steak or salmon, I'll have lean cuts of meat. So turkey, chicken, white fish. Again, huge difference with overall calories, and you can eat much more. I'll typically go little to no cheese, mostly no cheese at all, during a fat loss phase, which can really reduce the calories. And then instead of having eggs, the yolk, I'll just have egg whites. And egg whites are one of those things that are super low in calories and very high in protein. So an absolute cheat code when it comes to fat loss. So making those tweaks, very small adjustments that don't seem like a big deal, can really make a big difference with cutting calories, but also keeping you full and feeling great the whole time. And the best part about this is you still don't have to track your carbs or your fat. As long as you're tracking your calories and your protein, the carbs and fat can be wherever you want, whatever you want them to be. You don't have to be meticulous, but just by being conscious about this, by doing some of those things that I mentioned earlier, you'll be surprised at how much more you're able to eat and how much better you're able to feel. So if you've tried this, let me know. If you have another strategy that works for you, also let me know. If you enjoy these type of videos, do us a favor. It means a lot. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next video.